Let's take a look at that KD ratio. We're at 2.219. We're down a little bit. It was at 2.230 last video. I've been doing a lot of practice with flying on helicopters with the assistant off, and we're going to kind of cover that in this video. A lot of practice. I've been doing a lot of community servers with the Z as in Zulu 4, Z as in Zulu, T's and Tom 6 code to have my own little map. It is the Manhattan Bridge map. You'll see it in this video. And I go in there and I just fly the helicopter. And before we get into it, real quick, want to remind you guys, in case you forgot, the merch store is still up. Feel free to go in and get some shirts on, either blow a tank, no dinner required, or, beware the old gamers or whatever. The shirts, mugs, everything's still available. Feel free to, spend your hard-earned cash on some, on a coffee cup that'll make your coworkers, sit there and scratch your head at their meeting. With that said, let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about is when you're flying. This is the old video. You guys saw this on my video where I was talking about friends. And by the way, Friday's drop, we're going to talk more about friendship and categorization and things like that. But if you watch this helicopter right above the little icon at the tail of the helicopter says assist is on. Now, here's the best way I can kind of describe the difference between flying with the assist on and with it off. If you take a marble and you put it inside a bowl, the marble is going to sit pretty steady, right? It's going to sit at the bottom of the bowl, and it's just going to sit there. And it takes you moving the bowl to make the marble move. And that's what the assist is like, right? It is a very stable platform. It makes it very easy to fly. But the problem with it is it also makes you a very sweet target because you're not that maneuverable. You've really sacrificed a lot of the helicopter's maneuverability for ease of flight. And also you'll notice on this little video here, I'm actually using the anti-air missiles. And they're fine, but they're also, you hear that beeping, right? That tells you that you're being painted, right? You're being locked on by a missile. And when I'm using it to track those, an enemy, they know it too, and they detect the launch. And so then they can pop the flares, they can get their aircraft under 500 feet where the missiles will no longer track. You might get lucky, but most of the time, you miss. Like right there, it hit a flare. It did not connect with that other aircraft. So there are pros and cons to it, right? If you're just learning, like I was right here. And by the way, I am by no means an expert. But let's go over the loadouts before we get too far into it. There are a lot of loadouts that make it easier for noobs. The problem is that newbies get shot down quick. So let's look at the loadout. You have aim guided, you have light rockets and heavy rockets. The aim guided, I don't like them. The problem is that they don't do a lot of damage. There's you have to get a lock on before you can fire them. It takes like 5 or 6 of those things to kill an aircraft. And they're very ineffective against armored tanks, IFVs, etc. The light rockets aren't bad. They fire in pairs. They're very fast. They're very fast rockets. They do a fair amount of splash damage. But the heavy rockets, those things thump. Those things thump hard. I mean, you can take out armor with them. You can take out aircraft. In fact, if you connect with an aircraft, 1 or 2 of those, and it's coming out of the sky. So I definitely like the heavies. The other one is the aim guided, the anti-air you just saw on that other video. The aim guided is a tow, right? If you got ground pounders, you'll see those tow missile batteries throughout maps. You use them to take out tanks and things like that. They're wire guided. They thump hard. Those things will take out any aircraft one hit if you can hit them. And that and 1 or 2 rockets will take out any armor in the game. But they're a challenge. Boy, are they a challenge to learn to guide them, because you're guiding them with your joystick or your mouse. And you know, it's all you. It's pure skill when it comes to those. But they thump. The other thing, you have the emergency repair and the target detection. Target detection, you know, like the emergency repair, you know, I like it, right? You get thumped, you're about to go down, you can hit that, and it'll restore 50% of your health. But when you're flying, look, I have a hard enough time finding contacts, you know, when I'm on the ground, right? Guys are always sneaking up on me. In the air, it's even worse. You just don't, you know, you have ground guys hiding behind signs or whatever. That target detection will detect everything with like 250 yards in front of your aircraft. It doesn't matter what it is. It's going to find it. You're going to get the little red dots, and you'll be able to go after it. It's a trade-off. By the way, if you're going to go with the target detection, not the emergency repair, regardless, if you're flying helicopter, if you start taking damage, get off the battle, get it back to the, you know, to a safe spot and repair it. So go in as an engineer and be quick on the repairs. And if you have the supply crate for vehicles, you might need that too to reload this thing, depending on the map you're playing. So emergency repair has its pluses and minuses. I like the target detection. And then the last thing is your last upgrade. You have the radar, you have heavy weapons, and you have interference. Interference, to me, I've never seen any benefit of it. It might slow up a lock half a second or so. It doesn't do shit. Heavy weapons, the heavy weapons are nice, or heavy warheads. It does not affect the amount of damage a missile does. What it does do is increase the splash damage radius. So if you can put a rocket, you know, within 20 feet of somebody, you're gonna, you know, they'll take damage, rather than without it, it might take 15 feet. And it also gives you 2 extra heavies. So instead of 4, you'll have 6. Downside of it is it slows the aircraft down. It is harder to get up to speed. If you got someone locking on you and you got a boogie, right? You got to get out of dodge. You're going to have a harder time dodging and getting out of, you know, because you're carrying extra weapons, right? You're carrying 2 other missiles, and you know, Battlefield in its infinite wisdom made the aircraft slower in responding if you're carrying heavy warheads, whether they're spent or not. It's slower. And the radar system, again, back on the prior topic, I got to be able to see them. And the radar, the enhanced radar system will point out that other attack helicopter that's going to thump you in the head with a tow rocket. It's going to tell you that he's in the area and give you advance warning. So to me, that was more important than the heavy warheads. So that's the loadout. And so let's jump out real quick. Oh, how to set it up. So, like I said, you have the assist, and you have being able to fly. So go under gameplay, scroll down to vehicles. And helicopter sensitivity. It starts out at 100. I've got it jacked up to 200. I want this little bitch to be able to spin. And right there is where you click off your helicopter assist. And I also turned off vehicle aim related controls, right? Just make everything simple. And then at the bottom, okay, 200. Yep, scroll down. Yeah, it's under mouse keyboard. There you go. Vehicle aim mouse sensitivity. Since you just jacked up the sensitivity of the aircraft to 200, you need to decrease your mouse aim sensitivity so you can steer those tow missiles, right? So dial that down. You know, it depends on the sensitivity of your mouse, how many DPI your mouse is. My mouse is set to it like insane. I'm like at 2400 DPI. And even 10.5 may be a little bit too high. I'm still tweaking this. So that you're going to have to play with that to get to your happy spot, your happy place, right? And then we kind of exit out. Now this is that map, right? This is me flying with controls off. You know, lay down some rockets. But the one thing I want to show on this video is how to fire the tow and how to steer it. Now look, guys, there are videos out there that are far better than mine on how to do this. I'm just trying to help, basic moron how to fly it. And you kind of guide it in. Now you look at the red dot, right? You look at the missile itself. Don't use the center console. And then you follow it up with some rockets, and you can usually pop them. So that's, and this is what I do, right? I've been doing this same, routine, for an hour or so a day, going over, right? Practice the maneuvering, practice dodging, getting behind buildings, steering that damn tow missile, learn how to thump, right there, 1100 damage. Follow up, put a couple of rockets down, and it is history. And I don't care what vehicle it is. You hit it with a tow, and you hit it with a couple of rockets, and it's going bye-bye. So and there's no warning, right? You can get thumped with a tow and never even know it's coming. That happened to me a couple times. I'm flying, and all of a sudden I'm blowing out of the air, and I'm like, what the hell just hit? The other thing I want you to point out, if you're flying with the heavies, it only shoots one, heavy rockets, it only shoots one at a time. It fires right to left. You'll have one missile come off the right, and then you'll have one missile coming off the left. So you can practice where that missile's going to hit. It's, and you can go. You can actually look at it, right? The next one's off the left, and you put if you're in close, you put that rocket to the right side of that line instead of in the middle. If it's further out, it'll converge in the middle. But if you're doing anti-personnel, doing anti-infantry, and by the way, look at how this thing maneuvers. What I talked about earlier about a marble in a bowl, when you turn that assist off, turn the bowl upside down and put the marble on it, right? It is unfreaking stable. That ball's going to want to move, and you're going to have to learn how to counter it. But the benefit is it is maneuverable, okay? Watch how I will sit there and dance around all these people and just sit there and put rockets down. And I couldn't hit them off the top of the pylon. That's a challenge. But that's where you have to learn the left to right rocket. And just, but look at this thing. I can't fly like this. I can't get my nose down like that with the with the assist on. Let alone flip around like this and everything else. For anybody that flies remote control helicopters, when you turn that assist off, this is like flying a T-Rex. Okay, if you've never seen of course I haven't flown RC in years, but there used to be a radio-controlled helicopter called a T-Rex, and you could do anything in your wildest imagination with that. It fly upside down. You can fly it on its tail, literally, and it's called a tick-topp, where you're sitting there flying back and forth. But when you turn that assist off, that's what this thing turns into. I mean, it is highly maneuverable, but you have to. It's practice, man. A lot of practice on the sticks. And again, left to right, right, left on your rockets. Right, left. And you just have to, you'll practice and you'll learn where to put that rocket down to take out an infantry. So we'll just watch here for a sec. I do get tangled up, but left, and then it reloads. And here I get hung up. I'm sorry, man. A real helicopter, that would have been the end of it. But these things are tough. And I'm just practicing taking out infantry and flying and getting a feel for it. But look at how this thing flies. You don't do that with the assistant on. Oops. Oopsie. I was flying last night, had Wolfernator as my gunner, and I did one of these numbers like that, and I'm like, oopsie. Alright, so this is actual in-game footage. This is with the with the assist off, you can see that down on over the helicopter icon at the bottom of the screen in the center. It says assist is off. And you know, I'm still learning, right? I have no magic, you know, recipe to this. If you look on the lower right, I actually have the heel instead of the target ID. And when you get that lock on, you know, when you hear that teet 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 teet, right? The flares are 2 seconds long, and it's a 15-second reload. So, or is it 3 seconds? It might be a 3-second burst. But by the way, you like the little SeaBear emblem on the side of my helicopter. So when you get locked on and you pop those flares, you have, you know, figure 3 to 5 seconds to get your ass to cover. And missiles cannot track you below 500 feet, so get on the deck fast. And that is something that was very challenging with the assist on. So as I peek over the mountain here, there is another helicopter off in the distance. I think that, yeah, right there. See him flying? So I'm trying to guide that tow missile in. And I missed. That is, man, those guys who can do that, I am in awe of. They are very good. But if you see, I mean, as I'm watching replay, oops, kiss the ground. As I watch a replay, there's a guy running. I'll see it in a replay going, yeah, there was a guy running. I missed it. This is why I decided that I was going to switch from the auto repair to target acquisition. Because there's a guy running, and I missed him. And I went back, and by the time I swung around, he was gone. And I don't know where he went. So I think target acquisition when you're flying, to me, you know, because I don't know, maybe I'm just getting old and I can't see. There's a guy right there on the right, and I missed him. I didn't even see him when I was flying. And right there, I'm getting in trouble, right? She and I popped the flare, and I hit the heel, and that heel put me back at 50, and then I'm racing back for repair. The other thing I noticed, I didn't notice this in game until late in the game. When you get over your runway, it'll heal your aircraft. But instead, I drop it down, and I hop out, and I repair it. See, it's already repaired. Get back in, keep going. So, you know, I've spent a lot of time in Battlefield, and look, I'm trying to hit that damn tank, and it falls short. You see that? Son of a bitch. But look at this. I put about 400 damage on that tank, and I'm about to swing around and get him. And somebody, I think, put one rocket in him and finished him off. See, he's gone. There's the turret flying in the air, and he's gone. So it does a lot, and there's a guy firing left, right, left and right. Took him out, one shot. That's why you practice, why I'm practicing that, so I can, and you can see I got the splash damage. See that extra rocket? If you look at the dots on the side of the, that guy ran me. If you look at the dots on the HUD, it has 5 instead of 4. So you pick up that one extra rocket. We'll skip forward. I can't believe I left that in the video. Well, the whole spawn thing. I thought I edited that out. So we'll skip forward. Oops, sorry. So anyways, we're back in. And seeing if I can tag them long distance rockets. This is one of the first missions I've flown with. And see, there's 2 tanks right there below me. I never even saw them. I was fixated on that other helicopter. This is that, you know, I don't know if you ever heard about target fixation. You zero in on one target to the exclusion of everything else. That happened right there. I was zoomed in on that helicopter. I wanted to hit it with a tow, and I missed 2 tanks that were sitting right under me that I could have hammered with the rockets. So situational awareness in a helicopter is a lot different than it is you know, as a grunt as you're running around. See, there's and see, I'm in trouble. Somebody hit me. You don't hear, you know, like in you know, when you're a grunt, right? You got your headphones on, you can hear somebody running up behind you. You can't do that here. That's why I also turned on that radar situational awareness, or the radar upgrade, to increase and improve my situational awareness, so that they're not sneaking up on me like that. I got to be able to see the targets, be able to kill them, and I got to know that they're in the air so I can dodge them. To me, that's just more important than all the other stuff. Oopsie. See, trying to find a target. Like I said, that target acquisition, being able to find them, it's just so important when you're flying. Now, the downside of using that target acquisition is that anybody near you can get a target lock on your aircraft in 1 second versus 1.5 seconds. It's a half a second. To me, knowing where the guy is more important. So here I decide I'm going to get out and heal it. Oops. I'm out of combat zone. And if you notice the repair, see, it just repaired right there because I'm flying over the runway. I didn't even notice it. Shame on me. Should have seen it. So I still come in for a landing, hop out and try to repair it, and I'm like, wait a minute, this thing isn't repairing. Let's get back in the game. Two tanks. And they're already shooting at me. Somebody is. Go back and watch my short about what it's like to fly a helicopter and people always trying to shoot your ass down. You know, in the real world, on top of that rotor, that little ball, that's an actual radar. And in a real battlefield, not the game, in the real battlefield, they hide behind trees and hills and use that radar to spot the enemy, and then they pop up just long enough to get their missile off and then duck back down. I can see why. So anyways, that was the end of that one. So thanks for watching, and this is the Raging SeaBear, out.